If the problem is inside the organization or church, so it must be solved inside it. Indeed, it was written, if there's a problem or dispute, it must be brought to the servants of God. And as was written, people must seek instruction from the priest. Meaning also, find another priest if you see the priest in you is not good. Indeed, in such case, it is not because the priest is erring in such things, then he is bad in all cases. Even so, wicked person could advise a good advice. So how much more with the priest? Now as to this priest, first talk to bishops or church officials or to your fellow priest. If indeed not even one of your fellow priests listen to you, or as it was not solved, then it is your right to pronounce or announce it to the public. For who can indeed solve it outside the church? Instead, you put to shame your church to those who are uneligible. But the church could never be put to shame to all knowledgeable. But surely, as you humiliated your colleagues, this letter is not to harm anyone, as but a way that these things here in this video that I give attention may never happen again. Video time 21 seconds. The issue is about politics, so it is unusual to say of endorsing Jesus as candidate. Rather, it is nice to say it. Let's mainly endorse Jesus in this election period as our counselor. The fact that never in a mass or in the day that the priest failed to endorse Jesus to the people, as it is the main doctrine, as in one with God. It is not bad for the servant of God to endorse candidate, as it is the will of God for the priest to guide and to care for God's children, likely if the immorality is arising, as the life and peace is with the priest, as it must not to happen again that God will say to the priest, why did you forsake my children? Meaning, God or Jesus did not prohibit their servants to involve in choosing or endorsing leaders. Almost all just misunderstood the law of man about separation of church and government. I have an explanation of this in my other teaching, but it is true that many priests are not anymore in the right track. The fact for a woman to run for presidency is already against God. So how much more for the priest to endorse her? Unless that God despises the man or the country. Indeed, God or Jesus gives right for the priest to decide. But that means for good, for God is good, so be good. As God or Jesus said, whatever you bind in this earth will also be bound in heaven. So do really, it is a will of God, it is time to endorse a woman. But evidently, it is not seen in the way of the priest, as they also harbor in their heart an hatred to the family, which is not indeed bad. President Ferdinand E. Marcos is not bad. It will never be cited by Nostradamus that President Ferdinand E. Marcos is a greatest lover, if President Ferdinand E. Marcos is bad. Neither that Marcos family is corrupt nor a killer. If we just face the situation of today as about uncontrolled rally or destroying of establishment or about extreme and violent opposition to the government, like the reasons as why President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law. Martial law is not only the decision of President, it is also Congress decision, and never that Marcos robbed the wealth or the revenue of the Philippines. It is even the Philippines or the citizens that owes Marcoses. For Marcos developed the Philippines by his own wealth. How could you say Marcos is robbed the Philippines? If you compute the revenue of the 21 years during Marcos, it will not reach 4 billion peso, and there is no even amount trillion that circulate in the Philippines at that time. While the wealth that President Ferdinand E. Marcos had in the bank at that time is trillion. So could you see trillion from the Philippines revenue for 21 years in time of Marcos incumbency? As I've said, there is not even trillion in the Philippines that circulate at that time. With this, I hope the priest and the politics as well as the people must be awakened. I am not saying to vote for BBM. Indeed, BBM is a good man. He is humble with make peace. I happened to see him inside elevator of St. Luke Hospital in Taguig with no bodyguard. He looked at me with a make peace. As I've said, not all, being in their weakness, would mean as a bad human. BBM is in his weaknesses at this present, which President Rodrigo Roa Duterte in his 4 or 5 different videos had divulged. That BBM and his friends, which are children of poor rich families, are drug dependents. And as he said, BBM is pro-communist, which was also being justified in the video of Mr. Laurel, the one who is defending communist countries, who is also the one who is supporting BBM. So as I've said, this is not the right time for BBM yet. Besides, God has a prepared great obligation to BBM, as he will lead the global economy. And generally, God never assign all big obligation to just one person only. BBM must to prepare first his life for next election, as for the term which really meant for him. This is not his time yet, as he has a weaknesses that my demons can take advantage of. The fact there's a candidate that is so deserving to be a Philippines president. Emmanuel, God is with us. Or in money, God is with us. Homeless will have homes, Philippines and our peoples will have peace and prosperity. Video time 56 seconds. That verse was being meant by Jesus to the erring Pharisees and teachers of the law as about their hypocrisy, or to those who are doing it in a hypocrisy. So as it is bad to judge others of not knowing why they are praying in that time or place or in that situation. In the fact, that didn't mean that it is only inside the room that everyone must pray. Jesus just repairing it in regular hours. Video time 1 minute and 15 seconds. That verse is being repaired by Jesus as about hypocrisy, meaning of giving such things as offerings or gift or help to others. Anyone could do it in such places or events as long as it is not for hypocrisy. Although there is even a case as to give because of asking a favor to. It is even God's will, whether before or after the prayer was granted. Even Jacob do it to Isaac. Video time 1 minute and 41 seconds. Oh, for anyone to say that words is a sign of being astray. No one has a right to abandon God or Jesus' church just because some of his servants are erring. Even there's only one who was left righteous in the church of God or Jesus, no one has a right to abandon God or Jesus' church. For doing that, you are giving Satans a big chance to win. No one must jump out from the true pain of Jesus. For in doing that, it is as you deliver yourself to this war truly not God's, as was as of the erring priests, because they are not inside the true existing church. Anyone who loses their presence from God's or Jesus' church is opposing also his true presence to the Lord, as it is of abandoning everything in God's or Jesus' church. Video time 1 minute and 52 seconds. Oh, just for such mistake of one priest, it's already enough for you to abandon God's or Jesus' church. To everyone, nothing in heaven and earth are reason as why to abandon God's or Jesus' church. I will tell you, may God kill me right away if it is not true that the Roman Catholic Church is what was God or Jesus had established as to minister his church. As Jesus himself said, he has given it to the Romans as was justified by Peter. Video time 2 minutes and 6 seconds. That priest who terribly denounces BBM just don't know what he is doing. As Paul said, always pray for us the saints. So let us pray for that priest. Video time 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Oh, such an uneligible words. Church could never be destroyed by any axe, no matter how big and mean it is. If anyone will mean it, it is either he is uneligible or as a personal motive. No one must to take any reason so as to reject the Church of God or Jesus. Video time 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Do not judge Vice President Leni Robredo, even though she is a sinner or not. And either you are a sinner or not, you must not judge as what Jesus had said. Sinners has no reason to judge, though as anyone is not a sinner, he is not to judge others, as though he knows that it is really sinners. For God's or Jesus' will is to forgive. Only those who are being seated that could judge, as either the leaders of church or government. But fear that you will be judged by the leaders of the church, as Jesus said, what you forgiven or not forgiven, or what you bind or will lose in this earth, will also be forgiven or will not be forgiven, or will also be bound or will also be lost in heaven. Video time 2 minutes and 34 seconds. As I've said, nothing can sully the church, as the head or the church is God or Jesus. How can the head be solid? Neither the body could be solid. As Jesus said, no need to wash the fish or runs or the body, because the body is clean. It is only to wash the feet. And saying feet, Jesus means he is referring to anyone who was always being solid, as the feet is always being solid. So never judge the church just because of the sin of others. Video time 2 minutes and 52 seconds. As to see that the church now was already infiltrated by demons of such an ignorance. Ever since, even in time of Abraham to Jesus, the demons had already infiltrated the church of God. For wherever God's, there are the demons, so to destroy what God's, so never allow that senses or matter to destroy you also. For if anything that demons had intervened, then you rejected it, then nothing's God's will be left for you. Instead, be away from those that were been already absolutely destroyed by the demons, and save those that are not totally destroyed. The word you being referred to those concerned.
Viral ngayon si Father Rafi Quinto na matapang na nagpangaral sa mga kapwa nitong pari na tila nilamon na ng politika at pilit iniendorso ang kanilang kandidato sa loob ng simbahan.
To all my brother priests, I just want to give this very short reminder. Iisa lang ang candidate na pwede nating i-endorse, mga pare. And who's that? Jesus Christ.
Bilang isang pari, pinaalalahanan ni Father Rafi Quinto ang iba pang tagapaglingkod ng simbahan na ang tanging dapat nilang iniendorso ay si Hesukristo. Ito ay taliwas sa ipinapakita ngayon ng simbahang Katoliko, lalo pa dahil nalalapit na ang eleksyon. Nagpangaral rin si Father sa ibang gawain ng mga kandidato na tila taliwas na sa turo ng simbahan. Narito at panoorin ang kanyang mensahe.
When you pray, do not be like those who love to stand and pray so that others may see them. But when you pray, go to your inner room, close the door, and pray to your Father in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Take care not to perform righteous deeds in order that people may see them. When you give alms, do not blow a trumpet before you to win the praise of others. When you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your almsgiving may be secret, and your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you.
Komento naman ng columnist na si Crisette Laureta Chucote, his name is Father Rafi Quinto, and he and his kind will herd back us to the church we are abandoning because of men of cloth like Father James Uy Gascon. Ito ay dahil kamakailan lang, sinabi ni Father James Uy Gascon sa kanyang social media post ang quote, "This coming elections, itataya ko ang pagkapari ko. Kung di kayo boboto sa matinong kandidato, wag na kayong magsimba. Pa-lector-lector pa sa simbahan, pa-quote-quote pa ng Bible, tapos susuporta sa demonyo. Anong klase kayo? At handa na rin akong mawalan ng kaibigan kung ganyan din lang." Kasabay nito ay nagtinda rin siya ng mga merchandise ni Leni Robredo. Pagpapaliwanag pa ng columnist na si KLC Cote, "You know what the funny thing is about Leni Robredo being peddled by the Catholic Church as if she's the next star of the second coming? Hindi napapabuti si Leni, napapasama ang Catholic Church. Hindi nagiging pure si Leni, nababahiran ng kasamaan ang Catholic Church. Hindi napapamahal si Leni, nagagalit ang mga tao sa Catholic Church. The fact that there are priests turning away regular parishioners because they won't vote for Leni, a thing that Jesus himself would never have done to sinners, means pinasok na talaga ng mga demonyo ang simbahan. There is evil in our church masquerading as holy, priests who cause fighting in the guise of concern, and these are priests who are happy about the division they have caused.